California's youth facilities hold some of the most violent offenders, young, reckless, mostly gang members looking to move up and make their bones.
Most of these guys have been in the system from the time they're 12 years old. They really don't know what they're facing, and we try to prepare them for that. They come from all walks of life, mostly from gangs. When they get to Chad, they've pretty much exhausted the rest of the department. They've been through the lesser correctional facilities, they've been through juvenile halls, they've been through group homes, and they, for the most part, are violent, out of control, and have failed everything else that the state has offered. They're hardcore criminals in many cases, they're hardcore gang members, and they want to move up in that lifestyle. They want to move up to the big time, if you will.
They'll assault an officer just to get out of here. You know, they feel they can do their time better over there. They got homeboys up in the pen. You know, even if it does cost them a strike, they're not thinking about that.
We never know when we're going to be attacked, either by a group, by an individual, either with a weapon, without a weapon, or what many of us consider to be one of the worst attacks, the gassings.
When you get gassed, that's one of the worst things that can happen to you.
Gassing is when inmates throw urine, feces, or other body fluids on officers, exposing them to AIDS, hepatitis, and other deadly diseases, which are epidemic inside California prisons.
You just have to be able to walk away from it, and it just doesn't end right there, you know. It just doesn't end right there. That goes on with you for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month.
We had a feeling he was going to try and gas us by the way he was acting, so we made him approach the slot with his hands behind his back, and good thing we did.
The gassing's pretty not good to see, you know. So you just see the stuff come flying through the door, or just get all over either staff's face or right here. But when it hits the face, it's pretty disturbing, you know. The pants and everything, even that's disturbing. But when it goes in the face, it's an eerie feeling, it's an ugly feeling, it's a degrading feeling.
Because of space limitations, inmates are allowed 6 cubic feet of property, not counting their television sets, medicine, or legal papers.
This is all one inmate's property. He's got way too much. But you can see all the food that he's got, the cosmetics, the soap, the shampoo. And so I basically go through that and box it up and give them what they're allowed. They don't get any of the containers that they're in because they're plastic and they can make weapons. You know, they melt the plastic down. And I've learned not to even have to touch it. And I've hurt my fingers from doing so much toothpaste, so I have a toothpaste roller now. The televisions are clear plastics due to the inmates were hiding their weapons inside, but you can see all throughout.
What we have here is our weapons board that we've collected throughout the years.
They're very ingenious, but you have to remember they have 24 hours a day to figure these things out.
This is only about maybe a 1% of all the weapons that we've recovered since we opened this institution. These are from inmates tearing the dining hall carts apart. We have soda pop cans, parts of food trays.
They use all kinds of weapon stock. These plastic ones are made from, say, their shampoo bottles that they melt down. They used to be able to smoke. They had lighters and all of that. And we took the lighters away because, as you can see, not only do they melt down plastic to make weapons, they also use the lighter for a weapon. And we used to allow them to get regular toothbrushes in. Then we found out they started using it as weapons. We take that away.
I've seen officers get speared from the shower, arrows come out, and initially we'd go down with just a vest. Then they were shooting so many arrows out at us and darts that we went down with shields, like welder's masks, that were reasonably thick plastic. But then one inmate got one, he used a copper tip out of a coax cable, and it penetrated the shield and hit an officer right here, right below the eye. So now we wear helmets that have thicker shields.
That is a cuff key. It's made out of one of their little toothbrushes. And these inmates, you can figure that a good 50% of them are packing that at all times. It unlocks their cuffs, so you put cuffs on an inmate, you escort him out of his cell, they can get out of their restraints.
They were using coax cables, but what we've done with that is we have manufactured ends. So if they're altered at all, we take them. It used to be we'd measure them, but they could always sneak an inch, two here and there. They take the shaft, they use the coax for the tip, and then it's just bow and arrows. They'll stand there and they'll save their elastic out of their underwear, and then they use that as like they'll stand back, center their cell like they're supposed to be with their light on, but because of two pieces of paper, you don't always see their hands, and then they just let it go.
This was a half a pair of scissors, and he put that up his rectum. Problem was, the point cut him, and then he started getting a stomach ache. It lacerated his colon and had to go to the hospital, and that's how we found out he had that up there.
With few hiding places, inmates often smuggle contraband by inserting weapons or drugs into their rectums, called keistering.
There's a sheath they covered up, and that way they can secrete it in their rectum.
We make them get totally unclothed, we make them squat, cough, everything. But if they've got it up there, we can't find it. And they get out in the yard, and maybe they're jogging or they're hanging with their friends in the yard, and when they're ready to assault somebody, if you're watching, and sometimes you have 200 inmates on the yard, so you can't watch every single one of them. They'll go over and they'll squat when no one's watching. They'll grab their weapon out of their rectum, and then they'll go over and assault whoever they're going to assault with it.
Tammy Hanlon was an officer at Pelican Bay when she responded to a riot in August 1999.
There were several inmates over here laying on the ground. I ran over here, somewhere in this area, and I was gonna go over to this building, B8 over here, and get some handcuffs. And I noticed an inmate that was sitting up right here, and he looked like he was gonna jump up. So I went over to him and I said, "You need to lay down on your stomach." And two inmates over, this inmate jumped up, and that's when I turned like this, and he hit me twice, and I flew off my feet and landed somewhere back here. I didn't get up right away. I think I was knocked out. And there was all kinds of inmates moving around at that time. Apparently, an officer came from over here, and she pulled me up and pulled me into the building over here. I walked into B8, very stunned. Basically, it shattered this entire cheekbone right here into one major big fracture and lots of small fractures that basically they had to do surgery on, but they couldn't do it until after the swelling went down. I looked like an alien for about two weeks, I think. It was a pretty big face.
In the process of them attacking me, I fell down backwards and my foot went behind me. And the weight of the inmates and myself falling to the ground tore just about every ligament and tendon in my foot, and I ended up being out of work for approximately 3 months with that one.